All right, let's talk about the fractional CMO in a box product. So this is a product that will help you if you are doing some sort of like marketing consulting type of thing. Um, it talks about offering 13 skills and a lot of jobs to be done that are usual and standard. So what I thought we would do is just go through a scenario, a thing that you might have to do. We're going to demonstrate a few of the skills, but not all. So with that, I'm going to transition here. This is Claude Cowork. Um, you wouldn't have to do this normally. You would just add your skills into the capabilities for Claude Code. But since I have so many skills, I just wanted to basically narrow it down to these. Um, so if you ever do this type of thing, just know that you will not have to do this type of thing. Um, anyway, I am playing the role of a fractional CMO or somebody who's being asked to do CMO-like things. I have a client profile that I've put in here. It's sort of fictitious. I myself am playing the role of a freelance marketing consultant. Um, I'm essentially telling Claude Cowork that I have this opportunity for this client profile. They've asked me for a marketing strategy engagement, and I want to show them what a structured approach looks like and what more or less I'm capable of doing, or what I'm capable of doing with powerful tools like this one. So I say, let's start by understanding their audience. And I asked to run a niche intelligence on project management for small creative agencies, 5 to 15 people. So these are design studios, video production shops, branding agencies, and content studios. And so I'm asking it more or less to leverage this skill here that is in the fractional CMO product. So let's go. Let's see what happens. I'm not even actually sure myself how this is going to play out or how long it will take. Um, but let's see if we can see some of the running commentary. It may actually interview me. We'll see what happens if it does. So you can see it's invoked the skill over here on the right. Keeps it kind of a running commentary. Here's the task list. It's researching, then it's going to build the niche profile, and then it's going to save and deliver the niche profile document. So you get a document to show the client. In this case, we're just humoring ourselves and getting used to the tools that we're looking at. So let us just see what is actually being done here. It looks like we're doing a lot of research of design agencies with project management, creative agencies switching project management tools, and it's going through the results and basically giving us a researched perspective, which is what we're looking for. Close this down. Actually, I guess we'll just look at it. And just follow along to see what it's doing. So it's got several agents deployed looking at various search keywords, and it's going to basically tie all those up in the end. But it's done, and you can see that we're done with the research portion. Now we're into the niche profile building, which it should be basically gluing all this together into a report that we'll be able to see here pretty shortly. And we are waiting. Takes a little bit for it to write that report. It would take you and I quite a long time to just even complete the searches, much less figure out how it all should go together. So I'm willing to patiently drink some coffee or do whatever I need to do while it is assembling this deliverable. There's not much going on here. It seems like it's a few characters. Okay, now we've finally broken free and something is about to happen for us all. So, okay, so it's saying view your niche profile. This is what I'm going to click here in a second. Um, and it gives you kind of the gist of what's going to be in there when you finally do. So it's research. It says the number one competitor isn't Monday or Asana. It's spreadsheets, Slack, and email. And Ask PM tool failure is the biggest obstacle. Dual audience problem is critical. Trust threshold is low, but proof of adoption is everything. Status quo landed at 6 out of 10. So let's see what the report actually looks like. So just scrolling up, we see it's gone off and tried to figure out what are the jobs to be done and listed them, figuring out what their trigger events are, their prevailing belief systems. These are all things that would be needed in order to talk to this audience and understand them. Their obstacle beliefs, the things that we must address and overcome. The status quo analysis, trust threshold, the bits about this that are important, looking at what it's mentioning about prices there, and then decision dynamics and that, how do they make their decisions and how long does it take? And so this is a pretty thorough report that is useful for us as we continue to demonstrate to this client that we know what we're doing and we know how to give them good advice. So now I'm going to transition. I'm just going to borrow a prompt and just slam it in so you don't have to watch me type. It seems like it's taking me longer to get the prompt than type it. So here it comes. Uh, but now let's audit their website. And then I give it, normally we would probably have a website to refer to, but this is a fictional client. So we don't have a website. So I'm just basically describing it and enabling it to have something to go on. So I launched that. I'm going to close out of this report and just let it work. You can see it's moved into the site teardown skill. Um, The site teardown is much more valuable when it's got something to actually look at. So now it's doing some web searching and so forth. Okay, so it is, for one thing, the teardown is already letting us know that it is believing that this is a SaaS product, which we know that it is. See that it's picked up some of my onboard skills that are included in this package, but I told it not to use those, but it is using them. So, but you could imagine how useful that might be. So when you're doing a site teardown, you might want to do a specific one once you know that it's a SaaS teardown, because and teardown is just an examination of how the site looks, what it appears to be doing. Every site is different. Every site is categorized differently, um, and SaaSes are different than, I don't know, nonprofit sites. We'll just say headlines are very important whenever you're building a site or evaluating a site. Uh, Evaluating the proof. Does the page actually like prove that, or does it seem believable? Is there enough proof for me to believe and move forward? Um, Emotional sequencing. Am I following an emotional sequence that moves me through the page and makes this thing believable and desirable, and I just can't get enough of the product and eventually buy it? And then content gravity, like, what kind of content really makes a user move. So Right now, we have worked through the teardown. We're scoring the tasks. We're running our skills, and we are building priority fixes and writing a report. And then at some point, we'll after we got the report written, we'll get a summary of what it looks like. So, looks like we're still continuing to write that report right now, and I have no idea how long the report will be, but that's getting to be pretty long. I forget how long the other one went. I don't know if I can see the character count here, but nonetheless, this should tell us a lot about how we should be building our site or our page. And then once this is done, I'm going to launch it into something else that can be working on that while we examine the report. Okay. So we moved into we're writing the report and we're about to get a summary and verify. All right. It should be said, this video is probably painful to watch because it seems like things are progressing slowly, but we're probably doing weeks of work with skills that we may not have and delivering a very, very above average expert level performance. So here we go. I'm going to look at the report real quick, scroll to the top. Looks nicely formatted. I'm going to just launch this other prompt here real quick. And here we're about to uh, essentially, let's see, did I get that right? I want it to give me an offer. Like, let's rebuild their offer is what I want to do. So I'm launching that. So we'll just get that running in the background. We'll return to looking at the teardown report. So first of all, you see it's nicely organized. We get a nice executive summary of what we believe about the existing site based on what we told it with words. Normally, you'd show it with a URL and let it browse the site. Uh, Talks about what's there, but what's missing, any indication who this is for, any language that a founder would recognize. Basically, you can see how it's identifying the problem and what kind of fixes we would specifically make. Uh, and then it gives you scores. It gives you kind of rubrics where high score is the winner. And essentially, these are headlines that it's gone through the headline tester and evaluated for the rubric that the headline should measure up to. Uh, Social validation, 2 out of 10 is not very good. Um, Says that a lot of things are missing, as you might expect. And then what to do to fix it, see if we can get it higher. 5 out of 10 on the complexity perception, and so forth and so on what we might do to fix it. So it's giving you, here's your problem, here's what we would do to fix it, just like a CMO would do. Um, what is the switching cost? How do we communicate that? And how do we specifically fix this? Um, and then we go through here and we provide an audit and then a headline assessment, headline score, which is really weak. And then how well did we prove anything about what we can do? And how did we earn our credibility and eliminate the friction? And what is the proof density, basically? What is our emotional sequence? How well did we go through these steps of problem awareness, hope, belief, desire, urgency? And then what do we think is the diagnosis? And how would we go through that? So it's a pretty extensive report. Um, Here again, we revisit the niche fit, the jobs to be done alignment. Like we were 1 out of 10 with the niche research we did. So like our page isn't even speaking um, in words and experiences that the visitors even understanding. So 1 out of 10, we're not really resonating likely with our visitor. So and then primary bottleneck: site has no audience. It speaks to everyone, resonates with no one, and summarizes basically how to fix those types of things. And that is a very long but very structured, very interesting report. It may not feel good to people to get such things, but I think, you know, this is sort of a uh, here's the information, do what you want to with it. You can use some or all of it and iterate um, as you wish. And of course, the consultant or the CMO themselves would have the judgment and experience to know how to take this information. Okay, so it looks like our offer is done. And so here's the summary of what it thinks we could do to improve the offer. I realize I've explained nothing about the original offer, so I'm really just trying to wow you with this thing does come up with some ideas. And if you've done any of this at all, you probably know a lot of this makes a lot of sense, and you would have seen some of this. This should be pretty natural stuff. Um, you see words like Grand Slam, audit, found, blah blah blah. Obviously, those are words you probably would recognize from Alex Hormozy. Um, let's see what this looks like. And I won't go through it because I know this is getting really, really long. So here's an offer teardown that looks very much like the kind of detail that we just saw in the page teardown, the site teardown, um, along with the scoring. It takes the same format. It's trying to score what you got, and eventually we get down to what do we think we should do with the offer? What would we add? And there we go. We get to a scorecard, 2.7 out of 10 on this one. And if we rebuild it, what do we think we can get to? Well, we think we can get to 7 out of 10 based on the things that we're recommending. So once again, uh, you take this information under advisement. You may not do the whole thing. You may iterate and add things over time. It's all up to you, but the information is there. So hope this helps. This is only a small part of what one use case, but pretty powerful. Cheers.